The latest and the largest batch of Hillary Clinton's emails from her private server are out. They were released last night. Here's what we know. Up to 125 of those emails contain information that is now deemed as classified. Among the discoveries, a conversation with top aide Huma Abedin about an American hostage in Iran, and another exchange with aide Sidney Blumenthal, framing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as in an unfavorable light. Joining us right now is former U.S. Attorney General Michael Mukasey. Judge, good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Do you think Hillary Clinton broke the law?
Well, that depends on what her state of mind was at the time, and we're not going to know that until this investigation is pretty well completed. But these emails show, and there's one that includes a communication from Tony Blair in which he discusses his exchanges with Bibi Netanyahu and says at one point in the email, we ought to talk about this on a secure line. Now, it's inconceivable that she would not have known that that contained classified information, particularly when you consider that there was an executive order to all executive departments saying that that kind of stuff is supposed to be classified from the get-go.
So when you say state of mind, General, what relevance does that have, especially because when you are a senator, congressman, secretary of state, or anyone in government, you are grilled and they tell you what to do, what not to do. She knew that she was not supposed to do this, yet she did it. So how is state of mind relevant? She's the secretary of state. She has an affirmative obligation to make sure that she does it the right way to set the tone for everybody else.
Okay. By state of mind, I meant exactly what you said. That is, knew that what she was doing was not.
She's a secretary of state. If she didn't know, then she's incompetent.
Incompetence is not a crime. If it were,
okay.
In politics, it is.
But the FBI investigating her and this whole email situation. I mean, that is a criminal investigation, right?
Of course, it's a criminal investigation. The FBI doesn't investigate in the abstraction. It doesn't investigate civil cases, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
How do you link potentially what she's saying to her husband, how her husband's providing access and conferences and everything that's never happened before? Is there something that you see developing here where Hillary's got a lot of touch points that aren't Hillary?
Well, there are a number of problems with that. Number one, her husband was getting speaking fees from foreign governments.
Exactly. Big ones.
Big ones. If they were filing joint returns, that violates the constitutional provision that says that a public official may not get gifts from foreign governments.
Really?
At all.
Wow.
Okay, so
that hasn't been discussed.
No,
That's a very important point that you make.
Okay. At the time she did it, it was an impeachable offense. Passing that, if it turns out that he was getting speaker fees from countries that were involved in issues that she was dealing with, the Secretary of State, that raises a whole different.
And then transferring those emails to her employees, to the folks in the State Department that were deemed classified. That's a problem.
And as we're learning, and we've known for quite some time, but new revelations about this other device she had. She had an iPad too. It's like, how much more is going to come out of this? And by the way, Fox News, as I said,
it's not a crime to have an iPad, of course, but
it's a crime if you're exchanging State Department emails on it, and it's not also a secured device.
Yeah, it's also embarrassing if you say that I did it for convenience, and that turns out to be at least the second device that you
and you can't.
Well, she's got three because she also had the BlackBerry.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying.
You can't claim negligence there because she had requested the use of this iPad. This was early on in her tenure as Secretary of State. Investigative sources told Fox News in March that that device had not been certified as secure by the State Department. She then went on and continued to use it. In her memoir, she wrote about how she used her iPad everywhere and carried it everywhere.
Wow.
This is more to follow.
Yeah, this is the tip of the iceberg.
What do you mean by that, tip of the iceberg? You think this is going to get much worse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think we haven't yet heard what was on the server that was scrubbed. And
will we hear it though, Judge? I mean,
we might.
We were all led to believe that emails never go away.
Maybe a duplicate server is what has been potentially out there.
The company that was running this said that there may be a backup. Also, the FBI is very good at retrieving information that somebody's tried to obliterate. And if we find out, I mean, let's find out what's there, because my own view is there's probably going to be a lot more.
So if there is a lot more, I mean, does this impact her 2016 candidacy? We were just having Mike Berland on the show, and he said, oh, it's not impacting her.
You're the pundits. I'm not the pundit. I'm just a lawyer.
I think it does. What are the first words you hear when asked, what do you think about Hillary Clinton? Liar.
Right.
Not
Dishonest.
Trustworthy, dishonest. And that means a lot when you're running for president.
He was trying to
of the United
pivot
States.
from, okay, you can trust her. She's just not that smart with technology.
Yeah, right.
And that's Secretary of State.
When you're talking about legal issues, you're really not that smart if you don't understand the law. I mean,
well, she's a lawyer. She also worked for the impeachment committee. When she was a young woman.
What are the catalysts that we should look for in the coming months to underline?
Look for additional emails. Look for what was on the server that can be recovered. That was taken off. That was scrubbed. Supposedly as 30,000 personal emails about yoga.
Right, yoga and her daughter's wedding.
And her daughter's wedding.
Right.
All right.
Judge, good to have you on the show today.
See you, John.
Thank you so much. Michael Mukasey there joining us. Up next, the normal.